So, smart cities and smart city projects have been among the most actively discussed realizations which are made possible by integrated IoT approach. Like you're already aware that IoT has been in this space for last couple of years, and these are the one which are the fuel or the driving force for enablement of smart cities, right? In the period from 2017 until 2020, smart cities projects are being poised to be sharply increasing as we move from ad hoc smart city projects, which we have seen in the past, to the first two smart cities which are going to come up now. You are aware that there are a lot of projects or have got sanctioned. There are a lot of projects for the command and control for smart cities are in pipeline in due course of time. And this growth has in fact already started with an acceleration in 2017. And the year 2017 has been kind of the most eventful year where all 100 smart cities are being listed, and the work on each of the smart cities in some form or the other has already started. Right. The announcement on new smart cities initiative and the investments are also accelerating. And if you look at the major IoT projects, smart city projects are among the IoT. Yeah. Gentlemen, please keep your mics muted. Keep your mics muted, otherwise nobody else will be here able to listen. Thank you. Right. Lessons from early initiatives are getting shared, and positive returns and kind of impetus are reported. Further driving the smart city space, which is almost also the driver for the government investment. With this as a broad background, we are going to be talking of unlocking the opportunities in smart cities, where I'll be giving you the overall view of the smart cities, and also we'll try and work out the initiatives which could be available to us in due course of time, especially in the space of the IoT, where we can have a lot of entrepreneurs coming up, a lot of innovations coming up in that space. Right. Just to give a brief about me as to who I am. I'm a alumnus of IIT Kharagpur and was into defense, and subsequently I was the CIO of an e-commerce company for 2 years. Now in my present assignment, where I'm in Scanpon Geomatics, looking after the projects for smart cities. Also, I happen to be the founder member for Smart IoT Council and the executive member for ESA IoT security initiatives, which are looking into smart cities in particular and various other verticals. Right. As we are aware that the cities are growing bigger and bigger, and the bigger the city, it's going to be more about everything. It's more about culture, your market, your education, your innovation. You're going to have a lot of creativity. You're going to have a lot of health facilities which are going to be available in the bigger cities. But at the same time, there are going to be a lot of issues as regards the cities in particular. It's going to be having problems of the increased transportation, your choking of roads, your diseases which are going to come up, crime rate is going to go up, your pollution is going to be there, housing shortcomings are going to be there. So all those things put together make a city, kind of the positives and the negatives. And what we need to do is, what are the problem areas? We need to look into those problem areas and make them into the positives for making the city smart, right? And the cities are all complex. There are multiple stakeholders who have got different priorities. The government department has got a different priorities. The public has got a different priorities. There are natural prosperity towards a silo working. We are still not working in a very integrated manner. So there's a major area where it's of concern. Then there's a diverse population with diverse needs in a particular city, which you're all aware of, in particular the Indian environment, where you have different kind of population, different kind of requirements, and all cities are different. That's a major area of concern. No two cities are having a similar kind of requirements. Right? Then there's a rapidly changing national and international context. So we are trying to match the requirements of our cities to the international context. So there we are like in a kind of trying to put everything on the same platform. And major complexities are the resource constraints which are there in a particular smart city, which we need to address in due course of time. And it requires a new state or smarter ways of thinking and working as to how we can make cities smart using the ICT. Now, when we talk of what a particular smart city is like, if you talk in the case of the urban development, we talk of the security, we talk of sustainability. There are different smart utilities like grid, water, gas, which are forming the part of smart utilities. You have emergency, disaster, security, environment, which forms part of the safe city vertical of particular smart city. Then you have the smart traffic and transportation, which encompasses smart buses, your train management, your traffic flow, which is going to happen in a particular city during the congestion time or a peak hours or a non-peak hours. Then you have the smart buildings where you're going to be emitting lesser emissions into the environment and making the environment green. Then you have in the social development communities where you are including citizens and villages, where you have the smart homes, which is next area of development. We are going to be talking of their security, environmental, and convenience part of it. Then is a smart healthcare, where we're having a lot of impetus in the healthcare sector, putting the technology in place, which is merging with the technology and the health equipment for the ease of the medical facilities which are being provided to the people. Then comes a smart education, where you're talking of a remote school, you're digitizing your smart education, you're digitizing your syllabus. So all those put together forms smart education, and subsequently you have the smart tourism, your conventions, your entertainment, hospitality. These are the kind of the pillars for the smart city. And when you have the ICT infrastructure merged into these verticals, that make the city smart. You have the connected city, which is having both the backbone fixed line network, you have the wireless networks, which is connecting the IoT space or the IoT devices. Then you have the smart city intelligence, where all your information is actually getting converged on to the smart intelligent operation center, the command and control center, which forms the heart of the city to monitor what is happening in any part of the city. You have an application store, you have the contact centers. So this becomes the smart intelligence. And at the bottom line is the sensors which are being deployed all across the city to sense various activities which are happening. Now, on the right side of the view file, you can see that these are the Internet of Things, which are the sensors. Then you have the information flow, which comes from the IoT devices through the access point to the backbone network. And then you have the computing, which is a cloud computing kind of stuff. And here in smart cities, we are also going to be talking about the fog computing, where we are taking the information not only from the device, but also doing the computing at the edge. And also you're forming the collaborative responses of the smart city, right? Now, this is the current environment. We are all sitting in the current silos. Decision making is difficult. You're seeing that the information which has been collected presently also, there are certain cities which have got some kind of a smart safety devices which are put in, your energy devices, putting the old SCADA devices which are there. They're all working in a silos, right? The city management and all which is there. So all those applications, when they are being put onto the kind of the network, and they are supposed to get into the internet working, there you're going to be collaborating all those inputs and sharing the inputs between the various departments of the city, and you practically make and give the information insight to the decision maker. So what is going to happen is that whatever is the collated input after being taken from various devices is going to be collated, collaborated, and the proper decision making is going to be taken by the decision makers who will take decision in real time basis. Whereas presently what is happening is when they're working the case of the silos, the decisions are just being taken on the fly, or they have been taken and not been shared. So this is one of the difficult areas, and the smart city is going to ease out these kind of work environment. Now, continuing with the earlier slide which I was talking, you see the common service platform where you're congregating all the information from your industry and commerce, your utilities, public safety, public security, traffic management, and all the multiple agencies and enterprises who collect the information are being informed, and they have been, all the data has been collated, and thereafter this data is given to the right people for taking the right decision. Like in the case of a case of an accident, ambulance is required. The information will come to the common service platform. It will be sent to the hospital. The hospital will be informed accordingly. Meanwhile, the ambulance will be requisitioned, and the traffic will be coordinated in this period. The route surveillance will take place, and thereafter what is going to happen is that the ambulance should be reaching the hospital in time with the doctors available for giving the treatment to the patient. So everything would be coordinated in through the common service platform, and which you're all aware is not the case presently. And you see that the ambulance, when it goes there, the availability of doctor is always questionable. The pickup from a accident site is questionable. So those things will be taken care of by the smart city, and it will be eliminating silos, and there will be a lot of departmental collaboration which will happen. Right. Now, having said so, what would be practically the objectives of the smart city is primarily to create a replicable model which will act like a lighthouse for other aspiring cities, have a clean and sustainable environment and application of smart solutions, provide core infrastructure and give a decent quality of life to the citizens, and also focus on sustainable and inclusive development. Having said so, these all are the outcomes what we would be looking in from a particular smart city. To enable this is the ICT, and also not to forget the citizen inclusion, who are the users of these applications of smart cities. Now, when we look at a smart city, we say there are, from the ICT implementation side, there are 4 smart city layers. One is, these are the sensors and cameras which are monitoring your traffic, your buildings, your environment, which are spread across the complete city. Thereafter, you have the ubiquitous broadband across the city, connecting the sensor and the people. Gentlemen, please mute. Please mute. Yeah. Then comes the sensor data, primarily, which is going to be the smart city management, where all the data which is going to be collected from sensor would be given to the central data center, where the data will be collated, collaborated, and this data would now form as a information for making actionable information, which will be given to the decision makers. And the 4th layer is all the utilities, which are utility kind of the police, your healthcare, traffic, education, enterprise, transport. All these agencies and enterprises will be integrated, and these will be the users of your data, your application, and the business processes. So in a nutshell, the data which is collected from sensor, which is just a mere data, is converted into actionable information, and a decision is being taken by the decision maker in the government. And at the same time, the information is also available to the citizen. Now coming on to how smart city in the initial phase is working, and also how it is going to be there in the due course of time, is on a view file you can see on the left side is a traditional operating model where you have all the silos, though they have the data, but it's being used by those department itself without being exchanged by the people or the departments. Whereas in the on the right hand side, you can see there's an integrated operating model where all the departments are being enabled through the information which has been collected through the sensors, and it enhances the service management, it enhances your business management, and also enhances your technology and digital asset management, and it's being spread across the whole city. And on the top of the view file is in the center, if you can see, is the most important component of the smart city is a citizen, which is the consumer of all the facilities which are going to be available. So the information which is available with various departments would now be available with all the citizens. Right. This is a kind of customized to Indian requirement. We are looking in for a massive urbanization in the cities and make it more livable in times to come. Right. There are certain challenges which are ahead of us. It's not easy to make all the cities smart. There are 31% of India's population lives in the urban areas, and it contributes towards the 63% of the India's GDP. So this is one of the major point of concern for us. By 2030, urban areas are expected to house 40% of India's population and contribute 75% of the GDP. And what is needed is that comprehensive development of physical, institutional, and social and economic infrastructure in due course of time. And to achieve these goals, we are going to have the smart cities. Like we're all aware, there are 100 smart cities which have been declared, and they have been declared in the batches of 20, then around 37, then and then subsequently the 63, and then 37. So there are almost 100 cities which have been nominated. They have gone through a complete process of selection, which was through various parameters. And what it was thought was that there are going to be at least 2 smart cities in majority of 29 states with a population of 1 million and more, which were potential to be a smart city. And in addition, there should be kind of the state capitals, your heritage cities, and the cities nearby to the metros, which were being preferred to become the smart cities. So coming to the next slide, these are the 100 smart cities which have been identified, and the work on the first 20 smart cities already started with a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of initiative which is happening all across. And to put you in a perspective, most of the places where project management committee has been appointed, there are SPVs which are going to be appointed, which is going to be headed by a CEO nominated by Government of India. So there are different kind of models which is going to be followed in implementing these smart cities, which are 100 in number in case of India. Okay. Now, these cities are a mix of urban, semi-urban, business and financial hotspots. Primarily, the current persona of the 100 smart cities that they're going to be contributing $190 billion towards the Indian GDP, right? With a population of 125 million population of 100 smart cities, and there are 65 tier 3 cities which have been put as part of the 100 smart cities, which is quite a good number for development. And like 41 cities had a population of more than 1 million, and 35 cities primarily belong to UP, Tamil Nadu, and Maharashtra. They form the chunk of the smart cities. Okay. How they're going to be impacting in due course of time by 2020 is that additional contribution of the shortlisted cities in GDP after transformation is going to be almost 200 billion, and 10 million, more than 10 million jobs are going to be created due to smart city initiative, a rise of 10 to 15% in employment. That is a huge boost to the employment sector. And 40% is going to be the contribution of smart cities in urban population of India. And that is almost 70% of economy by 2020. There's also going to be a boost in the real estate industry to the Indian GDP by 2020 from 6% in 2015 to more than 10% by 2020. There's going to be saving in traffic congestion by the use of technology, which is more than 10 billion. As you're aware that we are spending a lot of money while we are standing or idling our vehicles on the red lights. So there's going to be a huge saving when we look at using the smarter technologies for traffic management. And there's going to be a reduction in energy consumption due to smarter infrastructure. And there'll be almost a 50% saving in the water losses in due course of time, right? How the smart cities are going to be developed is that they're kind of a model which is working on a greenfield model, a redevelopment model, or the pan city model, right? Redevelopment model primarily works on the principle of the city renewal, where you are replacing the existing built from the by enabling the co-creation of new layout, right? And then there's going to be a greenfield development, which is the city extension, which involves new development on open site using innovative planning, financing, and implementation tools. And the third one is the pan city application of the smart solution, where you're going to involve the technology, information, and data to improve the city-wide infrastructure and urban service. So these are the models which are being followed for development. And what we are primarily looking in for is from the smart cities to the resilient cities is Indian cities are aspiring for to become the smart cities. The visionaries of the cities should develop everything in consultation to consider how to apply, adapt, and scale innovations from around the world and to enhance the resilience and livability in their own area. Here is a point of the citizen involvement, which I was talking about. The smart city also offers a tremendous opportunity for Indian cities so as to innovate solutions, also address multiple challenges, serve diverse systems for cities, and also maximize the benefits of existing assets. Then we do talk of the capacity building. Is the smart cities for its sustainability require citizens to own the city. They should be the owners of own the city. That is the citizen inclusion which will play a major role. Also, the perception of the public property as their own needs to be inculcated, and dissemination of knowledge for e-governance functions should be carried out through training centers. Now, how is the money going to be coming into the smart cities? Because that's the major aspect for going into the smart cities and implementing it. Government of India is going to give almost 500 CR to each of the cities, and the matching component is going to be put in by each city is also the 500 CR. Then you're going to be charging the money through the user charges. What are the services which are being used? We'll be paying for the services, and the money will be going to the government. Also, we'll be going in for the public-private partnership for developing the projects. As you're all aware that there are the projects which are coming up are in PPP mode or a boot model. We're also going to have the municipal bonds which are going to be listed in due course of time for raising funds for the cities so that all the projects can be implemented. And as per the ratings, the Pune was rated the #1 for being the municipal bonds. Then we have the National Investment and Infrastructure Fund, which is going to be put in, and also the convergence of other government schemes is going to come up. Right. Yeah. Now coming on to the technology enablers, there are huge plethora of disruptive technology which are in line now, which are we all aware, starting from your big data to your mobile internet, cloud, of artificial intelligence, IoT, your virtual reality, all those will form the major part of the smart cities in particular, and these will be used for developing the various verticals for smart cities. And coming on to the architecture principle, on the viewfoil, I've put in how the ICT architecture is going to function in case of the smart cities, from human-centered inclusive design to multiple channels performance, technology and vendor agnostic kind of solutions. What we are going to be looking at, service-oriented architecture will be included in case of the smart cities, and we should have the preparedness for the failures in case of there's an architectural design or the any kind of a failure which happens in the smart city. And it should be fit for purpose and unique, and reusability factors should be incorporated into the architecture. And it should be an integrated approach so that you can have integrated planning, inclusion, execution, monitoring of application and systems should ensure that the wheel is not reinvented and the solutions are not over-engineered, and the ownership is clear, right? And coming on to the layer-wise, I have put in it's quite a busy slide. You can go through it when I share the presentation with you. Each layer we are trying to work out as to what would be the function at the architecture layer, starting from your instrumentation layer to communication layer. Then comes your IoT layer and the data layer, and application intelligence, and the security layer and the access layer. So each layer has been redefined, and the architecture has been redefined, customized to the smart cities, where the sensors are, how the sensors are going to work, how they're going to be communicating, and how is going to be a device management going to take place, how is the data acquisition and management going to take place. It's going to also provide the thing about monitoring, you're managing and controlling the sensors. So all those put together will be part of the ICT architecture layer, right? And this is how your complete ICT network practically looks in the case of the smart city, starting from your sensing layer to your user layer. So you can have a look at the baseline. You can see the various sensors which are being included, to the platform layer where different business network administrator and interaction network administrator have got their operation management and business management perspective, which have been put to also the system management in case of the smart city is going to happen. So all those things are being part of your smart city architecture. And at the user end, you have the business process, you have the government, and you have the people. So these are the end users who are going to be using it. And the methodology of delivery would be through mobile, through internet, through TVs, and other kind of terminals which are going to be there, for delivery of your information. Right. Some of the smart city applications in smart cities have the IoT applications, because IoT forms the major part of the smart cities. So how it can be used in different verticals, starting from your smart homes to smart parking lot, to healthcare, weather and water, then also your transportation and vehicular traffic, how you're managing it. And
so ಯಾಕೋ ನೀನು ಹೇಳಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ.
Please. Then comes your surveillance systems, and at each of the verticals we have different IoT sensors which are going to be there, different IoT applications which we'll be developing, which will be talking to ease the functioning of a smart city. Yeah. Then there are going to be a lot of ideas as regards the projects. The smart city projects are going to be there. We can get into a lot of IoT projects which are going to be coming up. Some of the areas which I've tried to figure out is digitally reprogramming space, your water management system. You can have a lot of projects in that. You can have the kind of co-heating, co-cooling systems. You can have the unleashing the spare capacity of your networks, mobility on demand you can do. You can have the urban farming which can be utilized. So all those things can be part of your IoT space, IoT innovations. So these are the areas where you can function. Then, as per one of the studies which is there is of the IoT analytics, there are a lot of segments which are forming part of the IoT, and smart city happens to be at number 2 after connected industry, that is the industry 4.0, where maximum amount of IoTs are being utilized. You can also see the IoT being utilized in smart energy, to connected cars, to smart agriculture, connected health, your smart retail, your supply chain. So all areas encompassed, you can be utilizing your IoT in smart cities. Yeah. Some of the standards which I thought I will give you a brief idea. The smart cities do have a large number of standards, and the standards are being made by different bodies. We need to standardize the complete smart city applications. So one of the major standard which is being used is the ISO 37120. That's 2014 release, which talks about the sustainable development of communities, and ISO 37101 of 2016. So similar kind of smart city standards are there, which we can utilize as per the requirement, and there's some of them are available on the network, on the internet. And with this, I come to the end of the webinar. And should you have any questions, I'm open to it, and we can discuss. Any questions, please?
Inderjit, this is Vijay. Thanks for the very informative session. I have a question actually. Do we have actually for 100 smart cities, what is the standard actually that we are going to follow across the cities? Do we have some standard defined?
ISO 37120 is the baseline standard. On similar lines, Government of India has made a benchmark document which has been circulated to the public also. And based on that, we'll be having the standards for Indian smart cities also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. This is Alok Ranjan Prishti. Thanks for your this speech. May I have one question that what is the plan we have for waste management? Because in India, if we'll see that waste management is a bigger issue. So what kind of plan Government of India and all the means participants like shareholders of this smart city project, what kind of plan they have for this?
There are large number of waste management projects which are going to happen. There's a lot of issues which are coming up with the waste management project, and government is still evaluating those kind of waste management solutions. I will discuss offline as to what we can do and inform you accordingly, because we are short on time, and this time will lapse in a very short time.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other question, please? Any other question? Dr. Alok, I'll discuss with you on the waste management. There are a lot of things which are happening, and